Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Hello, my friends. Today we have an important lesson. It talks about the generating set control panels. The control unit of the generating set control unit. It consists of the control panels in the all of the power plant or power stations. What are these and for what it's used? The control cabinet for the control of the generating set contains of equipment for output monitoring and synchronization and generator protection, as well as a manual control unit. Now, let's explain each part or each element in the control panels. 1. Generating set control bands consist of, as this show in the power station, each part consists of these elements. What are these elements? B1, B2, B3, and etc. and K1 also another plants. Let's go talk about one step by step. 1. From P1 into P3. P1, P2, and B3. What are these? It's the generator phase current, as shown this show in this cabinet. So the P1 and P2, also P3, is the abbreviation for protection and or generating phase current. It explains the current in each phase of the generators. P4. P4, it means the generator frequency meter. This unit is called, or P4, it's called the generator frequency meter, and its function is to measure the frequency of the generators by these elements called P4, or the abbreviation is P4. P5, what does mean P5? These elements means generator voltage meter. P5, its function is to measure the voltage of the generators. P5 by these elements. P6, also P7. P7, it's the generator power factor measure. P6 or P7, it's called, or its function, to the generator power factor meter, to measure the power factor of the generator. What is the power factor? For information, the power factor is the average of the active power into the reactive power and must be equals 1. If the power factor of any generator equals 1, this means the generator is output is same the input. So there are no any losses in these generators. So the B7 or B6, its function is to measure the power factor of the generator. B8, its means or function, its generator reactive power meter. B8, its function is the generator reactive power meter. Reactive power meter or reactive power, where does it come from? The reactive power, it came from the induction loads, so that any lamps or any fluorescent lamps it consists of inductions or of coils. The reactive power is accumulated in the load or the induction load. So this reactive power it's no benefit for any load and must be we escape out of the generators. So the P8 element, its function is the generator power or the generator reactive power meter. B9, and it's the most important element. What's function? B9 is function generator active power meter. Its function is to measure the active power. That's we benefit of them. It's called the active power measure element. It's called B9, the abbreviations. S20. S20. What does mean S20? It's the emergency stop. As shown this in cabinet. But for explanation. S20. And it's colored by the red. So if any emergency in the power station or the power plant, this power button must be switched off. So it's called the emergency stop. If there are any damage or fire in the power station, we must press on the S20 in the control cabinet. S21. S21. What does function? S21 is the voltage measuring selector switch. If you want to measuring the voltage, also we want to measure the voltage in the power station or the any generators, you must press on the S21 to show the voltage in this screen. If you wanted to show the voltage of the any generators, you must press the S21 to show or display in the monitor screen. S22. S22 is the abbreviation, this element, to the engine or turbo speed measuring selector. S22, its function is to measuring selector of speed of the engine or the turbocharger. If you want to show or to look at the speed of the engine or the turbocharger in the generators by the control unit, you must press on the S22 to display in the monitoring screen. S22. K1. K1. What does mean K1? K1 is the generator protection relay, and we explain in the next week inshallah. K1 is the abbreviation of the generator protection relays. The relays we will explain in the next week. K2. K2. What does mean? It's the generator differential protection. K1 is the generator protection relay, and K2 is the generator differential protection, and we will explain it in details. M1. It's the abbreviation of mean control unit. It's called the mean control unit that we will explain now. As shown in this picture, mean control unit. The mean control unit, or M1, it's the manual M1 mean control unit is called the manual control and adjustment measures for the generating set are carried out from a control unit in the generating set control panel. So, what does mean each element or each symbol in this main control unit of the control panel? Let's we explain step by step each element. So, S1. S1. What does mean S1? Sure, if you want or if you're looking at this element, you show auto or manual selector. So the S called switch or the selector. If you want a selector of the control of the power plant by automatic or manual. If you want to adjustment anything, you must select the manual. So the S1 is called the genset control mode auto or manual. If you wanted to selector manual or auto for the generating set control. S2. S2. What do you show or what are you looking in this element? You show speed drop and kW iso. The kW, it's the abbreviation of kilowatt. What does mean? It's the engine control mode. It's the engine control mode speed drop or isochronous. If you want to show the speed drop of the engine, you must select the speed drop. This element is abbreviation for the engine control. If you want to show the speed drop, you select the speed drop. And if you want to show the speed or the isochronous of the engine, you must select the kW isochronous or kilowatt isochronous. S3. S3, it's also the generator control. But what are its functions? S3 is the generator control mode voltage drop or power factor. There are two selectors in the S3. In the S3, you must select the voltage drop to show the voltage low in the generator by the screen. And if you want to select the PF or power factor of the engine, you must select the PF. S4. S4. S4 is the fuel decrease or increase. S4 its function to decrease or increase the mean or the quantity of the fuel for the engine. So the generator control or the fuel decrease or increase as will needs. S5. S5 is the generator excitation decrease or increase. If you want to increase the excitation of any generator in the start or in the starting processing, you must increase the excitation for starting of the generator or starting of the power plant. So if you want to select decrease or increase as you like. S6. S6. S6 is function to synchronizing or select to start. Synchronizing or select to start. If you want to synchronizing of the generator, you must select the synchronizing. If you want to select or start of the engine, you must selector of the start selector. S7. S7. It's the engine start or running. If you want to run it or start off the engine, you must press on the S7 to start the engine. So S8. S8 also it's the near for the S7. What is function? Its function is the engine stop or stop it. If you want to stop the engine, you must press on the S8 to stop the engine. S9. S9, its function is to breaker close or closed. If the breaker is closed for any damage or any short circuit, you must select the S9 to close the circuit breakers for loss of the short circuit damage. S10. S10 is function or element is the breaker open or open. If the breaker is open, it shows the S10 is light. S11. S11 is colored by the red. What does mean? S11 is the engine shutdown or reset. If you want to reset the starting of the engine, you must select or press on the S11. S12. S12 is it's colored by the yellow color. What's function is the breaker trip end or reset. When it's happened any short circuits in the S10, you must reset after the short circuit or any damage. You must reset the breaker by the S12. S13. S13. What does mean? S13 is the lamp test. If you want to test any lamp of the Mi control unit, you must press on the lamp test. So, about this, the control unit of the generators. Where are these used of the control panels, or where you can find this control unit? All these control units, it's found in a place. It's called the control room. The control room is a room for monitoring and controlling of the operation genset and consists of control panels and panel of special protection for generator and monitoring device. As we can see the picture, our computer as central control station in each equipment, whether electrical or mechanical course modern system. So all this about the Mi control unit and the power or genset control panels. Thank you, my friends, for your listening.